Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tami Patzer.
Hi, this is Tami Patzer, and I'm excited to introduce you to today's guest, Alicia Vaca. Alicia, listen to this. She created a company called Kiss My Butter. What do you think about that? She's had this varied and multifaceted career. You name it, she has probably done it. Listen, she has a bachelor's degree in business administration and management. She's been an insurance claims adjuster and marketing director, daycare owner, operator, life insurance and securities agent, and a licensed realtor. She's an entrepreneur at heart, and she made her way out of that corporate box. And today, she is the CEO, founder, and creator of Kiss My Butter, her all-natural line of handcrafted shea butter body care products. Clearly unafraid to pursue anything she finds interesting, she has found her niche in creating natural personal care products. Alicia believes that everything we need to sustain ourselves can be found in nature, and that she is inspiring and sharing that philosophy with KISS. Keep it super simple. Welcome, Alicia.
Thank you so very much.
I am really intrigued because, number one, Kiss My Butter is the perfect way to grab attention because in our noisy world today, you have the perfect Kiss My Butter. 3 words, 4 syllables. So that is just phenomenal. So tell me more about your vision for Kiss My Butter.
My vision for Kiss My Butter is to change the way we shea. Shea butter is an all-natural product. It comes, from the shea nut, and it's an excellent moisturizer. It's very healing to the skin, but in its raw form, it's kind of gummy and sticky and not necessarily pleasant to use or smell. So I've created a formula that makes it very easy to use. And with the product, I am trying to empower inner city youth who would not have the opportunity to travel to get beyond their borders and to see the world. Travel is another passion of mine. So I've combined those 2 things with Kiss My Butter, changing the way you shea, and enabling people to, enabling kids specifically, to see the world differently. It's amazing what travel opened up for me in terms of education, in terms of learning about myself and about other people.
Yes, travel is absolutely the most fabulous way to find out that there are other people in the world beyond you and obviously beyond the United States. I was fortunate to go to Thailand when I was 17, and I'm about 5'7", and I towered over all of the Thai people, and I'm very pale, and I have dark hair with brown eyes, and they would come up to me and touch me, and they'd be really fascinated because I was like this giant to them. But I learned that how to be so accepting of other people, and I think that's really important for everyone, and especially if a child has that travel experience, it really changes the way they look at the world. That's really fascinating, and what a beautiful mission. So tell me more about who you help.
I was just going to say that, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Tell me more.
No, I was just going to say that the actual idea for Kiss My Butter came from a travel experience. I was fortunate to be able to travel to Senegal, West Africa in January of 2013, and I bought some raw shea butter from a street vendor, about 10 pounds of it, brought it home, and found it not very easy to use, as I was explaining. When it comes, raw from the shea nut, it's kind of gummy and sticky, and it doesn't rub in, very well. And it didn't smell too good. And I'm a girly girl, so I was like, how am I going to use it? What am I going to do with this? So I kind of held on to it for a few months, just threw it in the refrigerator. But because it meant something to me, because I had obtained it, directly, from the source. The shea nuts come from Africa. And so I wanted to do something with it, and I pulled it out and started manipulating it, and eventually came up with the formula that I now have. Well, at that point, I had so much of it because I was working with 10 pounds that I didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use all of this. And so I started spooning it into little quilted mason jelly jars, and I gifted it. I was giving it to friends, family, people at church, here, have Merry Christmas. And what happened was they came back and they were like, did you make that shea butter? And I was like, yeah, I did. And they were like, oh, my God, it's wonderful. My stretch marks are disappearing. Can I buy some? And I was like, yeah. And so that's kind of how Kiss My Butter came about.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. The part that I'm wondering about, I don't know how much 10 pounds of shea butter is. Can you kind of describe what that might look like? I'm trying to imagine how you got it through customs.
Right. It's a big hunk. It's a pretty huge hunk. Like maybe probably like the size of a box of cereal, but, thicker. It's just a big chunk. It was like this big chunk of shea butter, and it was just wrapped in, it's on the street. I got it from a street market. So it was just wrapped in plastic and, bagged a couple times. But it was in my suitcase. So I think they did open it and kind of wonder, what is this blob of stuff you have here? But yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting, because that is a wonderful story, because so basically it was like, you look at this 10 pounds of the size of a life box of cereal. You're looking at it like, ooh, this kind of smells. This is like really not soft and creamy. And how am I going to actually use this? And of course, you knew the benefits of shea butter. And then, so when you came up with your formula, how long did that take you?
I manipulated it for several months, just tweaking it. The first batch, I would add aloe vera, and then I would add coconut oil, just different things, other natural oils to it. But the formula that I have now, it probably took me a couple months of just trial and error to get it. It was good, but I saw ways that I could make it better, and so I kept just kind of tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it.
So the people who came back, so you put it in a little mason jar with the beautiful, the cute, I love those jars, the little quilted mason jar, gave it as gift. So that was your test market. And they came back saying, I really, really like this. I want to buy it. So tell me more about the people and what they're using it for, and maybe some results that, you said that they were talking about their stretch marks. What are some other things that people can use it for?
If you have dry skin or eczema, it's very soothing and healing for that. I've had people share stories on my Instagram and Facebook pages where they've had children who have very sensitive or dry skin, and they've used it. I've got one customer who had twins, and she just loves it for her babies. Like I said, I've had people say that their scars and stretch marks are fading. And even from my own experience, I have, you get one set of skin, and it's very important to take care of it. And I was a pretty ruffian little, kid. And so I've got, scars on my legs and knees that I've had, for forever. And I did notice an improved they're still there. Obviously, short of having cosmetic surgery, they're not going to disappear, but definitely improvement in their texture and in the visibility of them.
So how long does your Kiss My Butter last?
I sell it in 4-ounce jars, and you really only need a little bit of product. A little bit goes a long way. So a 4-ounce jar could easily last you 3 months. Depending on on how you're using it.
So how does it have any preservatives in it or anything like that that we would need to be worried about?
It does not have any preservatives in it at all. And if you're not going to, I use it daily, so 3 months, per jar, and it's gone. If you're not going to use it, I would recommend storing it in the refrigerator because it does not have any. There are no artificial preservatives or additives or anything like that. It will also melt at a heat point of 76 degrees. So I've had people say, "Oh my gosh, I left it in the car. I left it in the car and I came back and it was liquid." That's actually not a problem. You can use it in the liquid form, just like you would use, say, baby oil or something like that. Or if you wanted to recoagulate it, just stick it in the fridge and let it solidify again, and there you go.
Okay, so no preservatives, no chemicals, no additives, and the recipe is your shea butter, and then you might have, you mentioned coconut oil or aloe vera, which are natural ingredients, and then whatever vitamin E. Mm-hmm. So somebody like for example, I have a scar on my hand, and I'm thinking, wow, if I put that on my hands, of course, I'd have beautifully soft hands, and then the scars on my hands would probably start fading and everything. So when you were over in Africa, obviously this wasn't even, I don't know, were you in Africa just traveling? What attracted you to the shea, to that block of shea butter? What made you say, "Gee, I'm going to get that, take that home"? What was it about that made you feel like that?
Well, I was aware of shea butter. I have used a number of products on the market that that say they contain shea butter. And so that I knew, and I was also familiar with cocoa butter, and I knew that shea was similar to that and that it was supposed to be really good for your skin. And the group that I was traveling with was, except for one, I think it was all women. There was one lucky guy traveling with about 20 women on this particular trip, and they were all buying shea butter. And I thought, okay, well, I want some too. Yeah, definitely. It sounds like a plan. So it was very, there was nothing calculated about it at all. It was just, I thought, wow, I'm here, I'm in Africa, and I can actually get it from the source. So this is, definitely going to be the real deal. And why not?
So now do you have a resource in Africa that you work with, or how does that part of your business work now?
So I actually found a wholesaler that imports from Africa, but they're here in the States, and so I acquire my products from them. But the original source is Africa for the shea butter.
Well, that's really interesting because think about that. You're on a vacation and you came up with, it was like, yeah, I want that, and then you come home and it's like, yeah, that's a whole bunch of shea. How am I going to use this? And then your creativity kicked in, and now you have a business. So what's going on with your business beyond your 4-ounce jars of your Kiss My Butter? What other products do you have?
I make an all-natural shea butter deodorant. I have a shea butter face cream. I have a sugar scrub. And I also, I have some other products that are not necessarily in the shea butter line, but as far as the shea butter line, those are the products that I currently have. So I have the body butters, which actually can also be used for hair. If you have ethnic, or tightly coiled hair, it can be used for that as well. The face creams, the sugar scrubs, and the deodorant.
Interesting. So can you tell me a little bit more about the deodorant? Because I know a lot of people are, if you go buy deodorant, you read the label and it has like aluminum chlorhydrate or, some other chemicals in it that, I actually, are an antiperspirant, but this is a deodorant. How does shea butter help you with the odors? What is the property that makes it so it works?
So the shea butter is actually just the base. It's actually got shea butter and coconut oil. What actually helps with the odor is diatomaceous earth, arrowroot. It's got some non-aluminum sodium bicarbonate. And those are the actual ingredients that effectively handle the odor situation.
Okay, so it helps to stop that bacteria from growing on the skin, and then of course, because it's the shea butter base, I bet your armpits are nice and soft.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Because I think a lot of times people, especially if you shave your armpits, you get all of that irritation, and it can be very uncomfortable, especially if you live in a warmer climate.
Exactly.
So I think that's really, really interesting. So you also talked about it did not smell good. So what did you do about the fragrance part of it?
Essential oils.
Oh, so how many different essential oils do you use?
I use lavender. I use tea tree. Really just those. Some jojoba.
Okay. What does jojoba smell like? I can imagine the lavender and tea tree oil, but I'm not really familiar with the jojoba.
Jojoba doesn't have a smell. It's kind of like it's more of a stabilizing agent, similar to the vitamin E.
Oh, okay. So that would be more of a natural or unscented, I guess would be a good way to say it. Because I typically go for unscented things, just because I found as I got older, scents bothered me. So, I go for the unscented. So that's really, really interesting to me. So tell me a little bit more about, you mentioned it in the beginning about your work with the youth. Tell me more about how that program works and how you're able to help the youth with the travel opportunities.
So I've partnered with a young lady who is currently now based in Atlanta, and she has a nonprofit, Inspired Wanderings, and she actually runs the program that takes the youth on the travel excursions. She worked a lot with Habitat for Humanity. She's an architect by trade. So she was doing a lot of work around the world with them, and thought this would be a great opportunity, to get kids involved and exposed in a tangible way, where they're actually contributing as well as having the travel experience. So my company, when profitable, contributes to that nonprofit, to allow her to work with the kids and provide scholarship to them to have those travel opportunities.
Well, like I said, travel is such an important growth opportunity. That is such a really wonderful passion and mission that you have. So I'm just really excited about that. So when somebody buys your products, do they get any samples to try other things, or how does that work if they get your product? Can they buy it online or in a retail store? How do they buy Kiss My Butter?
My product is currently available online at my website, www.kissmybutter.net. I do include samples with every purchase of a different, product or fragrance or something like that, just so you can kind of get a feel for the range that we have. Yes. And I also do a lot of vending, not just locally. I'm based in California.
Okay.
But I've done events in Florida, and I have several opportunities on the table. People are trying to get me, to Texas and, just different places. So I'm pretty excited because, again, that furthers my love for travel and, gives me the opportunity to get my product out to different markets and meet, new people. And so it's pretty exciting.
It is really exciting. How long you started the discovery process in 2013? When did you actually launch the official business?
In February.
Of this year, 2016?
Of this year. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So you've really come a long way. I have a question that I'm really curious about. Why skincare? after you have done business administration, management, insurance, marketing, daycare, life insurance, securities, licensed realtor. It's funny because I've also been in real estate. I was a mortgage broker. You name it, I've tried it. But after all of that background, what made you decide to create a body care product?
I know, right? That's what, every time I go to a family reunion, they're like, okay, what are you doing now? Because it's always something with me. But skincare has been an issue for me for my entire life. I grew up, having very dry skin, eczema. My mom and my parents were always, looking for, something to, put on my skin. And it would work for a little while, and then I would kind of get resistant to it, and then we'd have to change products. So it's just always been, and even my husband, when we've been married for 15 years, and he's like, what would you do if you were in the Kalahari? Like because I have a whole entire counter, and cabinets full of skincare products, just trying to maintain my skin. And in probably the last 10, 11 years, I've gotten really conscientious about what I put in and on my body. And I've been leaning towards a more natural approach. I don't feel like one day the light switch just kind of went off in my head, and it's like, the Creator did not put us here and not give us everything we needed to sustain ourselves. That just wouldn't even make sense, So while we're manufacturing and, creating things that are hurting our environment, as well as ourselves, I thought there's got to be a better way, to do this naturally. And so that's why, I was kind of leaning more towards the shea butters, the cocoa butters, things of that nature. And, just for me, for myself, like I said, when I bought it, I bought it to bring home and use myself. And when I made it to, bring home and use myself. But then, I had so much of it that I couldn't help but share it. And I thought, this is fabulous. Everybody has skin, and because you only get one. It's our body's largest organ, and it's important to take care of it. But for me, I was just trying to address my dry skin and eczema issues. But it's great for everybody. Even if you don't have any of those types of issues, then that's even better.
So it's part of a health regimen to protect the largest organ on your entire body, and you even said you can use it for your hair, and you have the deodorant line. And I'm sitting here going, gee, I could put that on my heels of my, where you get the dry heels of your feet, and obviously the dry hands. And in the winter, you need the protection from cold, and then in the summer, you need the protection because of the heat. So it's just like a very versatile thing. Have you found that most people, they use too much of the product?
Yes. And whenever I'm vending, I have like little sample sticks, and, I'll take a little bit. Sometimes the people, will just walk up to the table and grab a sample stick and take a big hunk. And I'm like, that's too much.
Right.
You really don't need a lot. So when they see my samples, they go, wow, that's really small. I'm like, it is. But, once you get this product in your hand and realize how far that little bit is going to go, I'll put just a little sample stick full, in their hand, and, they're rubbing, shea butter up to their elbows. It's not,
Right.
A little bit goes a very long way with the product. So doesn't really require use of much to get the job done.
So that's really interesting, because Kiss My Butter, all natural, no chemicals, preservative free, and a little bit goes a long way. So you said that a 4-ounce jar could last someone probably up to 3 months or 90 days with daily use, normal daily use. That's quite a long time to have that. And of course, right now I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my hands going, wow. I'm just thinking of all the things that I could do with that. And your tagline is changing the way you shea. And it's also all handcrafted. So Are you still handcrafting all of your products?
I am.
So, can you just describe how long it might take to craft? I guess obviously you're not doing it 4 ounces at a time, but how much do you make at a time?
I usually make so if I take all ingredients, all of the oil-based ingredients combined, about 4 cups. So that would be shea, aloe, and coconut. That will yield a batch of about 12 4-ounce jars. And that process takes me probably, from the melting and pouring of the oils to the actually having it in jars and labeled, about 3.5 hours.
Wow. And the reason I'm always interested in handcrafted things, because obviously your personal love and energy is going into that as you create it, because it's like, you've got this a beautiful, like you said, handcrafted product that's really healthy and good for you, and that a little bit goes a long way. So I think that's really important. So again, where can people find out more about you?
kissmybutter.net. I also have an Instagram page, kissmybutter.net_, and we're on Facebook under Kiss My Butter.
Great. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for sharing. As you can tell, I'm very interested in Kiss My Butter. So everyone go check out the kissmybutter.net website, and you can find out all about all of Alicia Vaca's products. Alicia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's been a pleasure.
This is Tami Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tami Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.